Over 5 million euros have been raised for the armed forces of Ukraine by the citizens of Slovakia. In March 2024, a civil campaign called Ammunition for Ukraine has launched in the country. This initiative was a response to Prime Minister Robert Fico's refusal to provide military aid to Kyiv. The campaign's slogan is, "If the government wants, we will send it." The funds raised are being used to purchase the third batch of ammunition for Ukrainian troops, according to the organizers. On March 7th, tens of thousands of people took to the streets in Slovakia and abroad to protest against the pro-Russian policies of the government. They are demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Robert Fico due to his pro-Russian stance. The protesters are showing their support for Ukraine and Slovakia's European future.
I came because I don't agree with the direction this government is taking us. I have a one-year-old daughter, and I want her to live in a country that follows values different from what our government representatives are showing us.
I came here because I care about our future and ensuring Slovakia remains in the European Union. I think it would be appropriate to replace the government with one that clearly declares our foreign policy orientation towards the West.
Mass protests in Slovakia began in January after Fico's visit to Moscow. The protests intensified after the Prime Minister publicly questioned Slovakia's membership in the EU and NATO. Fico's allies also contribute to the growing civil discontent. The deputy leader of the ruling party, Eric Kalinak, stated that if Russia had occupied Ukraine, Slovakia would have had a more reliable neighbor. In opposition, politicians called this stance a betrayal.
Fico is pulling us away from Europe, burning bridges with our allies. This is a betrayal. He has no legitimacy for this, and this government must resign as soon as possible. The only solution is early elections, from the Progressive Slovakia Party statement on Facebook.
Prime Minister Fico also demonstrated his disagreement with EU policies during the EU summit in Brussels. Before the meeting, Robert Fico and Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, stated that they might complicate decisions regarding financial and military support for Kyiv.
Of course, I am not against those who want to help Ukraine bilaterally. That's their business. But at a time when we are struggling with consolidation in Europe, I can't imagine giving €250 million to Ukraine for military expenses. Moreover, I think there is no reason for it. If Ukraine receives such huge assistance, it can't be a one-way ticket. Ukraine must also have obligations towards us.
The heads of government of Slovakia and Hungary are demanding that Ukraine resume the transit of Russian gas through its territory. According to President of Slovakia, Peter Pellegrini, this would be a gesture of gratitude to Europe. Opposition members believe the government's policy is aimed at destroying Slovakia's ties with Brussels.
What is happening now is a huge failure due to isolation at the European table, but even worse is leaving that table. How can the Prime Minister of the Slovak Republic expect support from other prime ministers when they see that he is leaving this European table?
And that Kyiv is unlikely to agree to resume Russian gas transit. After the summit in Brussels, Robert Fico stated that Minister of Economy Denisa Sakova is negotiating with the EU on the possibility of importing fuel from Azerbaijan. Reported by Alexander Zaslavets and Andriy Dmitrenko, UATV News. Around 100,000 people participated in protests across nearly 30 cities in Slovakia, rallying under the slogan "Slovakia is Europe." Protesters are opposing the pro-Russian policies of Prime Minister Robert Fico and demanding his resignation. According to Slovak media, around 60,000 people took part in the protests in Bratislava alone. The organizers emphasized that the demonstrations were peaceful and no disturbances occurred.
I am coming to the Slovakia Europe protest to show that we do not want to be with Russia, that we want to follow the policy that we've started. We want to be in the European Union, we want to be in NATO, and we want to stay that way. And we do not want to associate with the Russian Federation, and we want to continue to help Ukraine.
The Prime Minister of Slovakia stated that behind the mass protests in the country is a group involving opposition members, public organizations and foreign experts.
We see a structure that largely wants to abuse these protests for a potential clash with the state security apparatus to further escalate tension, further foster aggression. This is an attack against the constitutional order of the Slovak Republic. This is an attempt to organize a coup in Slovakia so that the government falls and those who cannot get through democratic parliamentary elections can come to power.
The opposition rejected the Prime Minister's accusation. The Progressive Slovakia, Freedom and Solidarity and Christian Democratic Movement parties introduced a proposal for a vote of no confidence against Fico's government. However, as the leader of Progressive Slovakia claims, the ruling coalition sabotaged the meeting where his proposal was to be discussed. The Prime Minister announced that he would present secret data from the Slovak Information Service to the lawmakers. Therefore, the parliament meeting was held behind closed doors.
It is dangerous and shameful that he is abusing the Slovak Information Service. He also abused it to thwart the debate on the expression of no confidence in the parliament a few days ago, and now the Prime Minister is abusing it to spread panic and to deflect attention from his failures.
Fico is attempting to hold into power by any means necessary, but analysts believe his recent actions have intensified the situation in Slovak society.
His excessive ties with the Kremlin, with Putin, and the energy situation are also irritating a part of Slovak society. Opposition forces should take advantage of this to mobilize their support as an alternative to Fico, who is clearly aligned with Russia in this regard.
The mass protests in Slovakia against the policy of aligning with Russia were commented on by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. On social media, he wrote, "Bratislava is not Moscow. Slovakia is Europe." Reported by Alexandra Zaslavec, Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.